Hey guys, this is Cam315. I'm back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another One Piece anime episode review for you guys. And now we can finally, and I mean finally, say we are completely done with the Oden flashback. If I had editing skills like a god, I would have put a round of applause. Because I know for the most part, a lot of people, when it comes to the backstories of One Piece, they really want to get back to the present day when a backstory kind of drags on. And I'm not gonna lie, even though the Oden backstory was really good, I would say it's honestly top 5 backstory in One Piece. Could definitely be the best. I've heard a lot of manga fans say the anime did the Oden backstory, in the anime version, a lot of justice and stuff like that. I like the Oden backstory. It's one of my favorite One Piece backstories because it's just filled with adventure, fun, and then obviously, your tragic moment at the end of the backstory. But it's finally over with. It's finally done here when we get to this episode. By the end of the episode, we cut back to the present. A little bit. We get a little bit of the present. We really don't get fully into the present till next week. But, obviously, now we're back in the present. Our heroes are about to be ready to fight and get ready for the raid and stuff like that. So but as I was saying, as I'm talking, well, actually, I'll bring this up I'll speak about it at the end of the video about my thoughts on the Oden backstory. Anyways, this is One Piece anime episode 976, and this episode essentially covers, really, I guess you can say, the epilogue to the Oden backstory of what happens to the retainers, the ones that didn't go 20 years into the future, the ones that were actually left behind. So we find out what happened to obviously Ashura Doji. We know what happened to Kawamatsu. We don't see we don't see what happened to Kiku, where she went, because they didn't pan on her too much. We don't see Shinobu, what happened with her. We really only focus morely on really Kiroshiro, or really Denjiro, who we later find out is Kiroshiro. Big revelation there. And then we also find out what Hiyori also does. And then we just kind of cut back to the present. We find out some information about the traitor, yada yada. Anyways, let's get into this episode. After escaping, we see Ashura Doji. He's just battered, bloodied up. He's got like arrows sticking from his back and everything. And he's just kind of reflecting. He's like, I wonder if they're going to return in 20 years. I wonder if your prophecy will be fulfilled, Toki. So he's wondering that thing. Then we know what happens. He becomes Mountain Bandits, and then he becomes Shutenmaru, yada, yada, yada. Now, we actually see Orochi, and he's taking this freaking bath, and he's like, man, turn up the damn heat. And essentially, his little servants are like, Orochi-sama, we turned up the heat. It's like getting to the point it's like boiling water, really hot and stuff like that. They're like, you could really hurt yourself. And he's like, I don't care. It still feels cold. Turn it up higher. And this essentially is the start of his crazed paranoia obsession with the fact that, I guess you can say, his whole fact that the Scabbards are still alive, because he's like, I need to find the Scabbards' body. Somebody get the Scabbards' bodies. This starts the whole thing because obviously what Toki said last week, it's implemented in his head, and now obviously he's afraid that the prophecy could potentially come true, which it eventually does. Now, we cut over to Denjiro, who goes to this little broken down hut, and essentially we see he was visibly freaking upset over the deaths of Oden and Toki, to the point I guess it was like a few months / maybe a few years. We don't know the specific time line. I'm guessing a few weeks, maybe / months. And we find out that Denjiro looks a little bit different. He looks a little bit older. His hair is obviously grayed out. And this is when we find out that Denjiro was Kiroshiro this entire time. Now, obviously, some people this might be a shock. Some people say, called it, yada, yada, yada. Funny enough, I know at the time, I didn't know really who he really was. until I looked a little bit into the manga a bit, but you know, I'm kind of blind with what's going on in the manga now. I don't know. There's like only a part I get up to the Battle of Onigashima where I just stopped watching just for purposes or stopped reading the manga for purposes and stuff like that. But if you guys didn't know, especially for anime only people, if you actually go back and watch Over the Top, the opening, which was before the new opening, which if you guys didn't watch the opening, or if you guys don't know, I'm just gonna let you guys know. They updated the opening this episode. I'm in the middle part of the opening, essentially, I guess, foreshadowing what we're going to see for some of these arcs. Like we saw some new characters we haven't seen before. We saw a dark silhouetted character with this yellow eyes and hair and stuff like that. So we don't know if that's going to be important. We see Marco. I will say that Marco's in the opening. So it's pretty interesting. So we get new visuals. I think the new visuals are cool. Again, they're just hinting at what we're going to see in this arc and everything. But going back to was talking about the Kiroshiro stuff. If you go back and watch Over the Top, if you look at the panels of the opening where they were showing the scabbards, they show literally all of these scabbards. And when they had the one panel was Ashura Doji, there was Kiroshiro behind him. And most people are like, if they're showing all the scabbards in this one, opening, because even in the opening, they show Kawamatsu, but in a silhouette form. They show Kiroshiro, and people got to like, I guarantee you Kiroshiro is Denjiro, because why would he be with all the scabbards and stuff like that? It wouldn't make sense. There you go. Well, because of it now, it didn't really shock, from what I heard, it didn't really shock manga people. As well, at the same time, it kind of, I guess you could say, spoiled anime people earlier if they had the idea. So yeah, look, don't know until we did that. Don't know why, but okay, fine. Anyways, so what we see happens is he goes into the flower capital for the first time, and these two dudes are kind of berating him, and they're like, who are you? And stuff like that. They try to fight him, but Kiroshiro or Denjiro easily takes him down. I'm probably just gonna call him Denjiro for the rest of the thing, but maybe I'll call him Kiroshiro. We'll see. But he takes him down easily, and then all of a sudden these people are like, oh, we'll follow you, Kiroshiro. And they're like, what's your name? And then he's like, my name, Kiroshiro, that's my name, and stuff like that. Now Kiroshiro, after he's built up his reputation a bit, he goes to meet with Orochi, and essentially he tells Orochi, look, man, I can provide you anything. You want women? I'll give you women. You want weapons? I'll give you weapons. You want money? Here you go. Here's a full chest of money right here, and stuff like that. And essentially it makes Orochi like, okay, you can be one of my guard members. That's good. Okay, I like how you're gonna support me and do everything. And you see just right there, like, you see the look on Kiroshiro's face because he's Denjiro, and obviously he doesn't like the fact that he's bowing down to the man that took and killed his lord, the person he followed, and stuff like that. Now, we find out that eventually Kiroshiro becomes the new Yakuza boss and the replacement to Hirogoro, our old man Hio. And that we find out the whole name, the fact that like he likes to sleep anon and stuff like that, Sleeping Kiroshiro. We also find out too that he was Utsuma Kozo. I forgot what episode they brought that up, but they brought that up in the present timeline. How Yasui pretended to be him, but it was actually Kiroshiro / Denjiro doing all that stuff. Now, we see where Kawamatsu loses Hiyori because he tries to do the Kappa Kappa dance and stuff like that, and then she eventually runs away. But the thing is, Hiyori is walking through the flower capital, and these two women find Hiyori, and they're like, whoa, what the heck? They take her back to, obviously, the place where Kiroshiro's staying at, and when Kiroshiro sees her, he's like, that's Hiyori. So he talks to Hiyori in a private room, and he's like, it's me, Hiyori, it's Denjiro. I may look different, but trust and believe it's me, and stuff like that. Kiroshiro, he does tell her that his face is haunted by the ghost of Wrath. to the point where it gave him a new look where Kinemon and the others wouldn't recognize him. So I guess that's the thing. I don't know too much about that. I'm not looking too much in. I don't know what that foreshadows, but okay, interesting there and stuff like that. So that's when they come with the whole plan of like, well, this is good. Now I can take care of you. He also does ask, where is Kawamatsu? Kawamatsu, but Hiyori's like, I don't know where he's at. I just left him because I was afraid that he was just giving me all this food and he wouldn't have anything to eat and he would have ended up dying. And that's when Denjiro's like, don't worry, I'm going to take you in. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to keep you safe and look after you. And that's when he tells her, like, look, in order for this whole operation to work, we need to give you a secret identity. So hide the fact that you have any relations to the Kozuki family. And you see her in the episode panel where she's training to become, obviously, the person he already pretended to be. And that's when Denjiro's like, you're going to be given the name Komurasaki, and that's going to be your new identity and stuff like that. Now, after getting some money, we find out that Kiroshiro is going to use the money to give it to Ebisu Town, which is the poor town, and stuff like that. And essentially, Denjiro's like, look, since, Orochi is like crazy about you and he just wants you, one, I'm sorry I have to put you through this. I know it must make you feel sick. Hiyori is like, look, it's okay. We have to deal with this. We have to deal with this and stuff like that. And that's when, Denjiro's like, listen, just in any event, anything, in any case, it gets out of hand with Orochi, keep fake blood under your kimono. So if things get underhand, I can just cut you down with the fake blood and it will make it look like you're dead. So guess what? Then you can go into hiding and, we can discuss what goes on there. So back then, which we already knew was a fake out, there you go to the reason why back in the episode, I forgot what episode it was. It was 900 something. The episode ago when Kiroshiro attacked Komurasaki, that wasn't real blood. That was fake blood. And it's actually a pretty good strategy. Like, have this fake blood under your kimono. All I gotta do is just slice you. And then guess what? It's gonna make it look like you're dead. And then I'll just deal with Orochi from then on and stuff like that. So that's where it goes and stuff like that. And then Hiyori tells Denjiro, like, it's okay. It's almost time. 20 years has almost passed. Now we cut back to the present timeline. The same exact year the Fire Festival is going to be taking place. And a few months before the Fire Festival, Orochi gets a note from this bird, that is from the note was given to him by the spy / the traitor in this whole operation. We get some background information on the traitor. One, he says about the Scabbers still being alive, so Oroshi's like, holy shit, see, Kaido, I told you, they're still alive, and Kaido's like, okay, I don't care, whatever. Now, Orochi tells these two people, like, look, I want you to find these people and kill them, but Kaido's like, no, don't do that, find them, but bring them back to me. And bring him back alive, because I would like to have a talk with the Kozuki remnants about their Kozuki stuff and things like that. Now, Kaido also asks Orochi about the spy. He's like, it's interesting how you have this spy and stuff like that. How can you trust this spy? And Orochi's like, oh, don't worry, Kaido. This spy I got, he's a very trustworthy man. He's really good. And we find out some information about the traitor, the spy, whatever you want to say it. One, we find out the traitor in this whole operation was born and raised in a theater troupe. But as a result of persecution in Wano, he lost his parents while they were performing on stage. And the freaking just imaging of that look just horrific as hell. When they panned in and they did his eyes go like the way like the Undertaker from WWE, I was like, what the hell? Then we cut over like a few times, one, we find out they were families of the daimyo killer. So I'm wondering if I'm guessing you could say this traitor is a remnant of the Kurozumi clan, which could definitely potentially be the case, because they said the family of the daimyo killer, which we know the Kurozumi clan killed one of the daimyos and stuff like that. Now, The reason why he was able to survive for so long is he played different characters and stuff like that. Now, when Orochi finally confronted him and met this person, Orochi told him, like, look, I want you to do me a favor. Be a retainer for the Kozukis. And we also see that he was also given a devil fruit. So, this person was given a devil fruit. Interesting. He also goes on to say, you will live to be a Kozuki retainer, but you will also die as a Kozuki retainer. And the crazy thing is about this traitor is, well, guess what? I'm just gonna say this, he was perfectly fine with that. And he was like, oh, that's great. I'm fine with that. I'm cool. I'll die for you, Orochi, and stuff like that. And even the traitor's like, look, I've just been looking for a place to die. Essentially, the traitor is essentially saying, like, look, I have no freaking operations. I have no nothing. He essentially saying he has nothing left to live for and stuff like that, which is very interesting that he would die for this cause. Yeah. And stuff like that. And we also find out some more information that every time he went to Oden for money, the traitor gave Oden double that. So we remember a few weeks ago how Denjiro brought up the fact that, Oden, we barely have any money as is. Well, guess what? There is your answer. The traitor was giving them more money. So, 2, we find out some key information, and then the Orochi kept it off like saying, oh yeah. And then obviously the traitor was essentially there to die with Oden, which we find out one of the traitors, essentially, it's not confirmed yet, but one of the traitors, we find some information. The traitor's been the traitor working for Orochi since he joined Oden from the way back in the backstory and stuff like that. So, 2, we find out he's a devil fruit user. There's only a small few retainers, scabbards, that have devil fruit powers, which I think is only... Technically, it's only 3 of the retainers. I'll speak about it. Technically, if you count Momonosuke, 4, but we know how Momonosuke got his devil fruit and stuff like that. Now, the thing is, and then we finally find out that it's confirmed too here that one of the traitors is one of the retainers, and they were there the day Oden died. So the only retainers that has eaten a devil fruit really are Shinobu, Kinemon, and Kanjuro. I believe those are the only 3 retainers / scabbards we know that have eaten devil fruits and stuff like that. Because I don't think Raizo eaten it. I don't think Raizo ate a devil fruit or anything. So between those 3, they are definitely one of the traitors. And it's going to be interesting. But then again, you have to cancel out Shinobu because Orochi said the traitor was there ready to die, looking like he was ready to die with Oden. And again, you can cross out many of the retainers because some of the retainers don't have a devil fruit because they specifically showed the devil fruit. So there's only 2 people. It's either Kanjuro or Kinemon, who is the traitor. I don't know who the traitor is going to be, but I said a few weeks ago, what if Kinemon's the freaking traitor? That would be some sort of crazy effery there. And things like that. And yeah, so it's very interesting. It's going to be interesting to find. We're probably going to find out who the traitor is in the coming weeks because he's been leaking out this whole information. Anyways, we cut back to the real present timeline where we see the scabbards again, just right then and there, looking to get ready to go to Onigashima because they look like the alliance isn't there. But then we actually see the alliance all together, led by Luffy, and they are A-okay. They were good, and they've all reunited, and they're ready to charge off. And it's like Luffy says, we're going to be the ones to defeat Kaido, and we're going to take him down. And that's where the episode ends off. Before that, before you get all the revelations, you just get flashbacks of what happened, essentially a quick cut of what happened for Kinemon and the others that went to the future, 20 years into the future, how they eventually left Wano to go to Zou to go get some help, but then split up from Raizo, ended up in Dressrosa, escaping Dressrosa thanks to Kanjuro, ended up in Punk Hazard, meeting the Straw Hats, going through Dressrosa again to stop Doflamingo and save Kanjuro, then meeting up with Raizo in Zou, and that's where the whole alliance, the pirate meets, samurai alliance started, and here we are today. Obviously they put that, whole flashback scene because one, it's One Piece, and two, it's to build up the anticipation of how far the Kozuki clan has gotten to this point to get to where they are today, and two, obviously for reasons because you have to extend scenes so the anime doesn't catch up with the manga and stuff like that. And again, like I said, the episode ends off with the Alliance all together, ready to take on Kaido. They were not stopped. Their ships are not destroyed. They're all good and everything. So that's where the episode ends off. And next week, we're going to get really back into the present stories. And it looks like Kinemon and the other Scabbards are surrounded by a lot of beast pirates and stuff like that. So that's kind of it for the One Piece backstory. Again, ending my closing thoughts on the Oden backstory. I thought the Oden backstory, again, like I said, is one of the better One Piece backstories, even though it did drag on from time to time. But I understand why they wanted to make this drag on, because you need to get the full story of like who was the man Oden Kozuki, or Kozuki Oden. How did Wano go from being probably one of the best places to live at to utter shit? How did Oden meet Whitebeard, obviously Roger and stuff like that, and just go through his life journeys, and again how obviously the characters we know today got from where they started at with Oden to where they're at in the efforts of trying to avenge his death and stuff like that. I personally didn't mind the backstory. I am glad the backstory is finally over and we can finally get back to the present storyline. It did start to wear on me a bit, but I very much enjoyed this backstory. It was one of my favorite backstories because it really did go in depth, and it seems like Toei and the people who work at One Piece really wanted to make this backstory really good and put a lot of time and effort instead of just rushing, because that's what they could have did. They could have just rushed this backstory and half-assed it, but they gave this backstory some very key emotional moments and some very badass emotional moments here, where even I was on Twitter and I saw some manga fans saying this was great. This was great. Even like some of these scenes were even better than they handled in the manga and stuff like that. But definitely can't wait to see and finally get to the raid on Onigashima. I've been waiting for this for a very, and I mean very long time. Anyways, guys, if you guys liked the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of One Piece. Put in the comment section, I already said that. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more One Piece content. And other than that, we're gonna get out of here, guys, or I'm gonna get out of here, guys, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.